Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this training. Thanks for everyone who has been able to join on time. We're looking at the number of participants. We are about 80. How I wish we could invite the rest of our colleagues so that we start when we are at about 100. But nevertheless, we will start the training. So we were hoping that we are going to have Grace from DHA joining us, but she has called out. She has some technical challenges joining. So as soon as she joins, maybe she'll give us a bit of the introductory remarks and also the justification for this training. For the few of you who are in the sensitization meeting this morning, you are aware the direction that DHA and SHA is taking in regards to eClaims management and eClaims processing. So I wanted that to come from DHA. So as soon as Grace joins, she'll be able to talk more on the same. For us, our objective is to ensure that we train you as users on how you are going to use the EMR to submit and process your claims with the knowledge that the provider portal will go off from tomorrow, especially for level 2s and level 3 facilities. So it is important that you understand how you'll be using the system exclusively for this purpose, and to ensure that your claims are processed successfully, so that you don't miss out on your normal revenues. Now, the training will take place from now all the way to Friday. So we are going to have this training today from 2 to 4. We have another one tomorrow from 9 to 11. Again, tomorrow we'll have another one at 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Then the last series will be on Friday, same time in the morning and same time in the afternoon. So if maybe any of you misses out on this one, we still have another session tomorrow. Just ensure that all the users from those facilities, level 2 and 3 facilities across all the 4 counties, that is Homa Bay, Siaya, Kilifi, and Kisumu, are invited and they are able to participate in this training. Yeah, so I don't know, Grace, if you managed to come in. Yeah, seems like she's still having challenges. So I think as soon as she gets in, she'll be able to make those DHA remarks. So without much ado, I'll just welcome Marianne to start us off with the training. We'll give Grace a chance when she is able to join. Otherwise, thanks, and let's have a successful training. Over to you, Marianne.
Thank you. Confirm I'm audible as I share my screen so that we can start.
Yes, you are. You are.
All right. So for this afternoon, we're going to have a walkthrough within TaifaCareK EMR for claims management so that we can understand, especially for PHC, claims management, the workflows for an outpatient client who is coming for outpatient services and they have UHC, PHC. And also for another workflow where we have a client coming in as a mother who is coming to deliver, so that we can also see how PHC maternity workflow also happens in the system. So allow me to share my screen so that we can do that together. So one of the reasons why, as my screen comes up, why we're integrating claims management with the HMIS or EMR systems is so that we can eliminate fraudulent claim activities by integrating a stepwise verification process that will use biometrics and OTP verification processes, and we'll be able to see how that will happen in the system. For this to happen in the system, we need to have both administrative and clinical workflows integrated and configured well in the system. So I'm going to briefly walk through the administrative tasks that need to be done by the technical team even before the users can start using the system for the PHC claims management workflows. So one of the tasks that will be done by the administrative team is to ensure that all our clinicians have a valid license. For example, the user I'm logged in as is a clinician, a demo clinician patient who has a valid license. When you look at the licensing, you'll be able to see it's valid. We have the license number as well as the other details for the user. So how this will be done is the admin teams will have access to the administration module. And one, they can edit the existing users and ensure that we add the ID numbers for our clinicians just to be able to verify them from the various registration bodies. So to demonstrate this, allow me just to try and add a user, although we will not complete the process. Under demographics, we need to add an identifier type. So we're going to use a national ID and then add the identifier. For example, we need to use a dummy one. Choose the regulator. This is going to be Kenya Medical Practitioners and Dentist Council, and then we search. So when you do that, the system is going to pull from the HIE layer the details of this particular user. It's taking some time, but it's going to come up. So this needs to happen with all our clinicians that we have in the facilities, the MOs and the CEOs. Why? The reason why is because once we finish with the claim form, it will need to be attached with the doctor details, and we need somebody who has a valid license pulled by the system. So we'll come back later to that since it's taking some time. The other administrative tasks that will be done by the technical teams, more so the billing administration teams, the billing admin, the finance managers and the finance officers, is to ensure that we have configured all our clinical charges for all the services and all the commodities that we are offering in our facility, just to ensure that all of them have a price attached to them. So to do that, they will be able to access the billing admin. I'm just doing a quick overview because I know the teams know how to do this, and this is one of the questions that came up. We can be able to add clinical charges from the billing administration module as one of the key functionalities that the billing team will be able to perform before the system is used. By selecting clinical charges, we'll be able to, one, add prices for items that we have as a service or a commodity. So I'll just demonstrate quickly on how to do this. So if we have already configured prices and maybe we are just adding or confirming, one of the things you need to do is just to search from the charge item so that we don't create duplicate items. Once we search, for example, let me search for a drug, say Preaxon, and confirm we don't have it pre-configured already in the system, then we can proceed to the action section, add charge item. So anything that is tangible, that is a commodity, we are going to use this section. Under actions, add charge item, then directly search for that commodity. So this is going to search from the catalog that we have already pre-configured from the stock module that has already been preloaded with all the items that we have as pharmaceutical and pharmaceutical lab commodities and other commodities such as stationery and assets that we may have in the comprehensive list that comes with the installation package. So I will search for that particular drug that I may want to add. For example, say Preaxon. Let me search for another drug that will not take time to load. For example, like amoxil capsule, 500 milligrams. We may not have a price attached to it, and we want to configure a price for this. One, you need to ensure that the status here is on so that we enable or activate this particular commodity for the price items that we are adding. Then we add the payment methods. Again, the billing team will need to have determined within this facility for the users who are coming, as we are offering them services, how will they be paying or making payments? Are they going to use cash? Are they going to use insurance, the various type of insurances that we have, provided either through the Ministry of Health, like UHC, or private insurance, and even mobile money for cashless payments such as M-Pesa. So for this instance, I'm going to add 2 for insurance and for mobile money. So for Moxil capsule, the price we're going to attach here is the smallest unit form that, or the lowest form this particular commodity will be issued to the patient. So we are going to take 1 capsule. How much in this particular facility do we charge for it? Maybe we charge it at 2 shillings for clients who are paying by insurance, and 1 shilling for patients maybe who are paying the mobile money, or just can standardize that to 2 shillings. So every time a patient comes and they're given a Moxil as a drug, it means we're charging them 1 capsule at 2 shillings, and we can be able to save and close for that. The system is going to give you an alert telling you that the price commodity has been successfully saved. And now when you come back to the charge item, search for Moxil, you'll be able to see for what we have just added, a Moxil capsule 500 mg. It is enabled, the status is enabled. The type of commodity, it is an item. We've configured it for prices for insurance and for mobile money. And you can be able to either delete the charge item or edit the charge item if you need to either edit the price downwards or adjust it upwards. We can still add 1 more. This time, let us add another commodity, which is an pharmaceutical commodity, maybe something like cotton wool. I'm going to select cotton wool, absorb white, 400 grams. Again, the same method follows. Ensure the status is on. If it is turned off, it means the status will be disabled, and this particular item will not raise a charge bill if it is issued to the patient. So let us ensure the status is on by sliding the slider until it turns to green. Then we can add the payment methods. Again, I'm just going to add for insurance and mobile money. So for patients who are coming to the facility, how will we be charging them for cotton wool absorb? We can say maybe we are going to charge for the entire roll, and we are charging it at 280 for mobile money, 280 for insurance, and we can add as many payment methods that we have in the facility. We have patients who pay using checks. It means we need to have pre-configured the payment modes, and we can add as many as we have. Then we can save and close. So that means we have added 2 commodities in the system. Again, if we come back, search for cotton wool, we'll be able to see what we've added and the price that we've configured. Now, how do we add for services as well? Because there are some services that we're offering our patients in the system that we need to also attach prices for. So for services, we will use the add charge service. The form is a bit different. 1, because it has a specific concept ID attached to a particular service. And the best method of adding for services is by picking it from the service area and pasting it in the service concept. What do I mean by this? Allow me to duplicate this. So when we are giving orders, we usually have a list of orders in the system, either as lab orders, radiology, imaging orders, or even procedure orders. So when we are getting the orders, that particular list is the best to use. But for now, because of time, allow me to just type a particular service, like maybe wound dressing. So we already have a concept for it. We can add the service name, either the way it is displayed at the procedure level when we are doing an order, or we can even rename it depending on how we call this particular service within our facility. We can even give a short name for it and call it WD00. Service type, again, attach the exact service. This particular service we are charging will be attached to. allow me to use surgical outpatient department for this. Then we can proceed now to ensure the status is on and add the payment methods. Again, for this, I'm just going to add to insurance and mobile money, attach a price for it. So whenever a patient comes to our facility, how much are we going to charge them for? With dressing, maybe we can say we charge it at 800 shillings. Again, ensure we have set everything correctly, the status is on, and we can be able to save and close. And we'll be able to see that we have added that particular charge item. So again, if I search for wound dressing, I'll be able to see the price I've attached to it. And remember, we can always come back, edit or delete the charge item. So that's it in terms of the technical activities that we need to do. One is to ensure that we have been able to add clinical charges for all the products and all the services that will end with the patient, so that when we start raising a claim form, that particular price will be attached for that particular service, that particular commodity we've given to the patient. So allow me to quickly go back to the administrative section where we were trying to validate a clinical user. So again, we're going to choose a national ID, regulator, Kenya Medical Practitioners Dentist Board, then identifier type. I'm going to type the ID for my clinician. I'm going to search. So it's going to pull from the HIE, Healthcare Worker Registry, Healthcare Worker Server, and it's going to show me the details of my user, who is Dr. John, their identity, their licensing qualifications, and their practice numbers, and we can choose to use values. So choosing to use values is going to auto-populate now the demographic form, picking the names, the gender for our patient, their contacts, and so on, and we can be able to save. So once we save and assign them login credentials and specific roles will be performing in the system, that is where now you will find we are going to have them as a user who has a valid license that will enable us now to be able to push our claims. So for the prices that I have just shown how to add clinical charges, we are going to set them as per the county rates or as per the county finance guidelines, how we've been charging for our particular clinical charges. Then we can proceed with the clinical workflow because now we have had, we are done with the technical issues. So from the clinical workflow, we are going to follow the workflow of a patient who is coming for patient services. And the starting point for this particular patient is going to be at the registration. So that means we are going to start by patient identification. How do we onboard clients who are coming to our facility? Now, there are two ways of doing this currently. One, we can do an emergency registration if a patient does not come with any identifier or they are coming in a state where they cannot be able to talk, we can't be able to tell who they are, or they don't have any verification identifier. But if we have an identifier type, then we can be able to choose the particular identifier depending on whether, one, they are an adult, where we can be able to use a national ID number. We can also use a passport number to get the national ID number, because that is basically what we're using for an adult. Then if it is a child, we can either use the birth notification number or we can use the birth certificate number. Again, if it is a mother, a pregnant mother who is underage, we can use the mandate number to be able to verify them. If this is a non-citizen, maybe it's a patient who has come who is a foreigner, we can either use the alien ID or refugee ID. So for this instance, I'm going to use a national ID, search for my patient. I'm going to use my own ID. So when you click on search, what happens is that the system now starts searching for this particular ID, details of the person who is attached for this particular ID from the HIE layer. And how it does this is it is checking from the government sources or records that we have to confirm that this particular ID is attached to so-and-so, so that we can be able to see their name is a bit masked, their age, gender, and the CR number. And from here, we can be able to send them an OTP for them to authorize for us to be able to access their medical records. So once you select send OTP code, this particular client who has this ID and that number that they used to register will be sent a notification saying, hello, client, this particular facility wants to access your clinical records for claims processing and use the code. So I'm going to use that OTP that has been sent, that 1015, and we can verify. So that once that is done now, the system will allow you to access further information about your patient. One, you can be able to see their dependents if they are not the primary client who is coming seeking for services. You can either be able to see their dependents and offer them services. If it is a spouse, we may need to send them an OTP, but if it is a child, we can just check them in. So I'm going to use the workflow of the primary who is coming to seek services for themselves. And for us to proceed, we'll need to start the visit by checking them in. Once we do that, the system is going to allow us to start the visit. This is a new visit. We'll be able to see the visit location is the facility from where this patient has come. The visit type, it's going to be an outpatient visit. The patient category, they are coming seeking clinical services, so they are not a walk-in client. They are going to start the clinical workflow all the way from triage to clinical consultation and the other services they will be provided for. So for the first service, which we have determined will be triage, we'll need to send them to a particular triage room. So I'm going to post them to triage room 2 in OPD. Then 2, we'll need to determine the mode of payment. How will this patient pay for the services and commodities will be offered in this facility? Are they exempted from payment? If we say yes, we'll need to add the exemption category. But for this case scenario, our patient is not exempted from payment, and the payment method they're going to use, is insurance. And to showcase our case scenario for SHA PHC, we are going to select the insurance scheme as SHA. And when you do that, the system is going to give you the system is going to show you their policy number or preload the policy number. They will show you the active schemes they are on. For example, this particular PHC and SHIF, and we can see their status is active. Now, in cases where we do not have the policy number loaded, it means either we did not start the validation using the identifier to search on the HIE layer, either we started by using the search icon that is on top, and we may not have had updated the registration details for that patient with their ID number. So what we need to do for the CR policy number to appear is just to edit the registration ID. But the ideal scenario and what is being advocated is to ensure that we are searching all our patients from the HIE layer using the ID identifier for an adult. So once we've established that, then we need to look at what type of a visit this is. For PHC workflow, we cannot have an elective visit. So it will always be no. It cannot be yes. That will not be applicable for PHC outpatient visit. Then we need to define the SHA package that we are using. For SHA PHC outpatient, the only applicable package will be SHA-12. So it can be in 2 ways. It can either be SHA-12 for outpatient care or SHA-12 for outpatient MCH. So the workflow we are going to follow is for outpatient care. So we are going to select SHA-12 outpatient care. So again, to note, the only applicable package for PHC will be SHA-12, and SHA-12 is in 2 forms. One is SHA-12 outpatient care and SHA-12 outpatient MCH. So in this workflow, we're going to select SHA-12 outpatient care. Then we're going to choose now the interventions, or the first intervention that we are going to offer our patient from this particular package. So we can select consultation capitation. And the good thing is that these particular interventions have been validated against the package that we are selecting here. So as we continue seeing our patients and selecting different packages depending on what schemes they are active on, we will be able to see the validation effects for the various interventions. So we are going to start with consultation capitation, and then within the system, we're going to select for this consultation capitation, or for us to be able to see this patient within this facility, they need to pay for consultation services, and we have already pre-configured the price for consultation. Just allow me to select adult consultation, which already has a price attached in the system. So the chargeable service that you select here must have a price attached to the system, and we have already gone through that workflow on how to add chargeable items. So let us recap before we verify and start. What are the do's and don'ts again? So for the PHC workflow, for outpatient, the visit type will only be outpatient. 2, when we select insurance, we need to match the insurance scheme to SHA so that it populates for you the policy number and you can be able to see the active schemes. Then 3, this visit, since it's an outpatient visit, cannot be an elective visit. So it will be no. Then we need to select the correct SHA package, which is SHA 12, outpatient care for this instance, and the SHA intervention that we are starting with. Then for the chargeable item, it is a requirement for SHA as a list of services that will be ordered. Because what we will do when we are starting and verifying the visit is to create a virtual claim form that will be populating as we offer services to our patient. So if we do not add a chargeable service item that is attached to a price, then our claim form will have a service that has 0 charges, and we may not be able to be reimbursed from that. So I'll proceed to verify and start the visit. So when I do that, now we have the first layer of verification so that we can get permission to start the visit. That is getting an initial consent from the HIE layer through eCitizens. So what happens here, we can be able to validate this or seek authentication in 2 ways: by use of biometric scanners, where a patient comes and we scan for their fingerprints, and we can be able, their fingerprints are going to be validated against the biometric records that we have from the government sources. Then 2, we can also use an OTP to request for whitelisting for cases where we may not be able to use biometrics for a patient. Such cases can either be a child, a construction worker, somebody who has a disability, either they don't have fingers, they don't have hands, so we may need to request for a whitelisting. So the first time you're requesting for whitelisting for a patient, you need to give a reason why. So I'm going to just request for OTP because I can't be able to use biometrics. For my client, they have already been whitelisted. That's why we cannot be able to get the reasons. But the first time you're doing that in the facility, you may get a pop-up asking you to select the applicable reason as to why you are seeking whitelisting for that patient. Why you can't be able to use biometrics and you need to use an OTP. Then I'm going to send the OTP to the client. So this particular OTP now will not be a 4-digit code. It is a 6-digit code. It will not be coming from the facility, but it will be coming from SHA portal, and it is going to say, dear so-and-so, please confirm the information provided is accurate and consent to the consultation service. Your SHA OTP is this. It is 764217, and we can verify so that you can start your visit at this particular facility. Then it's going to give a disclaimer: kindly note making false statements under the Social Health Insurance Act of 2023 is an offense. Then we can finalize that particular section. So I was assuming the role of a registration clerk who is tasked with onboarding